bound to start sooner or later. It
Pardon?
was bound to start sooner or later.
Yeah, really. Good morning and welcome to the show. Here we are on the Real Estate News Radio Show, and we have got Mr. Micah Solomon in the house. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning, everybody.
It's so nice to see you. You know, on the team we call Micah the Wizard.
Yeah.
And it's
I'm
not
not
his
sure
beard.
why.
It's not his beard because you are so knowledgeable. You have
Okay.
so much experience and you're so knowledgeable. And you turn that knowledge. So today we're talking about 16 different real estate questions that we get commonly asked. In fact, pretty much every day, at least 3 of these questions will pop up.
Yeah, I'm hoping someone can tell me the answers.
Yeah. And one of them, and he's funny as well, and one of them is around septic. So we definitely call him the septic wizard. So should people be concerned, Micah, when they're thinking about buying a home with a septic?
Absolutely. It's definitely something you want to have checked out. Include that in your list of inspections because if there's an issue with the septic system, if it's not working properly, if it's an older cement unit and it's got cracks or it's caving in, you could be looking at very expensive repair or replacement. So you definitely want to have that looked into.
And it can hold up closings, which frequently happens. And there's nothing wrong with a septic system, right? That means that you don't have to pay sewer bills on an ongoing basis. Lots of septic systems, just like sewer systems, can be an issue too when you're connected to the city or county sewer. Septic systems, they can work perfectly well. If you're thinking about selling your home, I would advise you to go ahead and have that septic tested. You're supposed to pump it every 3 to 5 years. We all know that. Do you know anyone that pumps it every 3 to 5 years?
No.
Yeah, it doesn't happen because, you don't want to spend that money. You think, oh, it's working perfectly well, so why would I go ahead and pump it? Okay, we get that. However, if you're thinking of listing, get it tested out now. What does that involve, Micah, when you come out and test a septic? I know that you've been on lots of those, especially recently here.
Well, typically, or what we recommend is that you combine the inspection with the pumping. So that
So what's a pumping? What's that mean?
So they have a big pumper truck. They have a big truck, and they come out and they either dig down to the lids of the septic tank, or if there's risers on the tank and you don't have to dig down, that's actually ideal. You can always have risers installed, which is a good idea.
And it's about $500, right? It's not expensive. And the tank sits in the ground.
Yes.
They don't sit above the ground. So they might sit at the level of the ground or very often 5 feet. Sometimes we've seen them 10 and 15 feet deep.
Yeah, they're supposed to be about 2 feet deep.
Supposed to be.
Very often they're deeper than that. Sometimes they're much deeper than that.
How deep is your tank?
There you go.
Oh, we got a whole new jingle. How deep is your tank? How deep is your tank?
We've been working on
We
jingles this
really
morning.
need to know, 'cause we're gonna be digging down.
I like it. So you have to get to the lids of the tank, and then they feed a big hose down there, and they literally suck out all of the liquids and solids and whatever is down there.
So it's almost like an exhuming of your tank rather than a pumping of your tank.
Yes, yeah. It's a suction. It's a vacuuming of your tank. Is
Yeah,
basically what it
right.
is. But that allows
Vacuum your tank.
that allows them to actually see the inside walls to see if there's any cracks. They'll also see the level of the water or the level of the whatever's floating once they access it, so they know.
Ooh,
if
Saturday morning talk. What's floating in your tank?
So if the level is too high and it's above the pipe that's coming in from the house, they know there's
Ooh,
an issue.
you got an overflow.
If the level is way too low for what it should be, they pretty much know that there's a leak somewhere.
Oh,
Yeah, and so they visually inspect the tank, and then most of the inspectors have cameras that they can feed into the system, into the line. They can even feed the camera into the tank before they pump it and look at the tank with the camera. But they can use the camera to feed into the line, see if there's any obstructions, see, because I've had situations where they could only get the camera so far down the lines in the drain field because
Yeah.
there were tree roots growing in there. And at a certain point, the camera couldn't go any further because the tree roots were so thick.
That's a common one, isn't it, where tree roots are coming down?
Yeah.
And we've also had situations where, you may have, we had a situation once where somebody had a parent living with them who had Alzheimer's, and that parent was flushing, and kids do this as well. That parent was flushing clothes, money, jewelry. Now, I'm not going to tell you the address because you'll all be rushing out there to get the Rolex that was flushed down there.
wow.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know if I'd go down there even for a Rolex. But yeah, it could be, you don't want to flush things down there that won't decompose.
And unfortunately, people with babies or people with dogs that they use wipes to wipe off their paws,
Yeah.
they'll flush those into the system, and those don't break down like toilet paper does.
Or Barbie dolls.
Or,
Don't be putting Barbie dolls and Legos and
My
kids do that, you know.
My little Tonka truck, it was
You put your Tonka truck down the toilet.
Kid-
Randy
Well, it
puts
needed a
his
lot.
Tonka truck down the toilet.
Kids do that. You're right. They'll see that water swirling.
Yeah.
But turn their head.
Woo!
Woo! And
Yeah.
they'll throw their baby doll in.
There goes the goldfish.
Yeah.
Well, goldfish I guess you're okay with, right? Not live ones, though. Not live ones. I wasn't suggesting live ones.
No.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
yeah, you're
Ooh.
supposed to eat those.
Oh! Oh!
Blackened.
So what happens with? I'm sorry. Maybe this is a weird girl question or something. What happens with the bugs you flush down the toilet? Like, some people are scared of spiders and they flush them down. Or I do admit I flushed a tick down once. I'm completely freaked out by ticks.
Oh yeah.
I flushed it down the toilet. Does it live down? If you've got a septic, does it live down there?
No, they can't live underwater, so they'll.
Sure about that?
Well,
It's gonna kill it, Mike. It's
I
gonna kill those
suspect.
nasty things that I flushed down the toilet.
I've never been at an inspection where they lifted off the lid and we were attacked by spiders and ticks and bugs, but I guess it's possible.
Maybe they've turned into big giant monsters and they'll come back and get you. Crawl back up through the pipe. Oh, this is a good Saturday morning topic, isn't it?
Right off the bat.
And it's an important one when you're looking at home with a septic. So what we're suggesting is, how much does it cost, Micah, to get your septic inspected?
The combination of the inspection and the pumping is between $500 and $600.
5 to 6. So it's not
So
inexpensive.
No, it's not inexpensive, but it is definitely can save you a bunch of money and headache in the long run, or even in the short term.
And I can tell you, there is nothing worse than getting excited about your home sale, getting your boxes packed, being in a position where you're ready to move. Maybe you've booked the movers. There's a lot of work that goes into that, getting the new school situated and everything else. And then you're all excited because we bring you a contract. We bring you a contract, and then over the next few weeks, often 3 or 4 weeks, inspections take place. And quite rightly, or not sometimes actually, people get very freaked out at inspections. There's over 30 items on the average repair request. You do not want that to be your septic. So a lot of people right now are escaping from the big cities. Ours is one of the cities that they're flocking to, right? We have New Yorkers, we have Texans, we have Californians, we have Floridians. Who did I miss?
Michiganders.
Michiganders. They are Michiganders too. How did you know that?
I think I've worked with some.
That was very cool. I'd forgotten that. I was trying to think what we call Michigan people the other day. Michiganders. I think that is actually correct.
Yeah.
I like that.
Or Michiganers.
Michiganers. Oh, I like that too. Michiganers. My best friend's a Michiganer. So we have a lot of people escaping here, and many of those folks have never met a septic, right? Septic tanks. Oh my gosh, you people in the mountain are weird, right?
Yes.
So that is a little nerve-wracking when you've got a septic. The last thing you want to happen is that there's some issue with a septic. So riser is a very common one that can, again, yes, it's all money. It's $500 to put your riser in or thereabouts. The riser allows easy access, basically. You dig a hole and put a riser in, and it makes easier access to the septic tank. And if you've got an old one that's really deep, that they're digging a big old hole in your yard, you don't want that either.
Yeah, and they're also going to charge extra to dig deep.
Dig a hole.
Every time they have to access it.
I would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You've got to dig a big old hole down to your septic. And it's one of those things, it's if you imagine something in your home that you don't have an access door to, it's like having your fuse box without a door, right?
Yeah.
Or, having it, I don't know, somewhere. Actually, we just sold a house where the filter for the main system, for the main house, was in the crawl space. And it was actually an older lady who really, at her age, in her 70s, did not feel like crawling in the crawl space to put the filter in every time it needed changing. So she actually had it moved upstairs. It's the same thing with the septic when you can't get at it.
Yeah.
So do you think septic's a perfectly good idea, Micah, and you shouldn't be nervous about going for a home with a septic? Or do you think everybody should ixnay every home with a septic and just go for homes that are hooked up to the sewer?
No, septic systems are perfectly fine, and and clearly there's not going to be a sewer system out in the county where
out in the boonies,
where a lot of people are looking. You said that Rowena said that we're getting a lot of people coming here. They're not necessarily just coming to Asheville. They're coming to look out in further out in the
Maggie Valley or Weaverville or Black Mountain, Marshall, Hendersonville.
Yeah, they don't necessarily want to be in a city, so septic is pretty much your only option.
Yeah, in fact, most people don't want to be in a city. I mean, they're escaping a city.
Yeah.
And even though, the biggest ones here, we're talking, Waysville's a fairly small town still. Hendersonville and Asheville would be the largest towns. We have listeners all over the country, so just to explain the geography for you of the main towns, we've got Asheville North and we've got Hendersonville South. Those are the two cities, if you like. Technically they might be called towns, but whatever. Those are the major areas. Waynesville is probably the next. Waynesville or Weaverville would probably be competing in size, around the same size. And the reason I say it like this is because you can look them up and see the populations and everything else. But I'm talking about feel for the town. When you walk downtown, you feel it's a town of this size, you know?
Well, Waynesville certainly has a bigger downtown.
Yes. Than Weaverville?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got Black Mountain, which is a smaller town, very popular smaller town. Weaverville kind of has the same feel, similar feel to Black Mountain, has a similar feel to Weaverville. Where you have a heart of a downtown. You have a heart of a downtown in Waynesville too. You have a heart of a downtown in Hendersonville and Asheville. Yeah. A lot of the other areas that we talk about, such as Arden and Mills River and Marshall, don't have that heart of a downtown, which a lot of people are looking for, especially when they're escaping from the big cities.
Yeah, or Fairview even.
Fairview, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with Fairview. It gets you out in the country a little bit more.
Beautiful area.
Very, very popular. A lot more country. And you can be 10 minutes, not even, to downtown when you're in Fairview. And it's an easy road in. Well, it used to be a really easy road in. Now traffic's gotten a little bit more congested.
Yeah, but it used to be a 2-lane.
Right.
Yeah. And,
Do you remember those days, Mike?
Oh, yeah.
So, if you're out in any of those areas and you're not downtown Weaverville or Black Mountain or Waynesville or Hendersonville or Asheville, Mike is exactly right. It's probably your only option. And if you think about it, I'm sort of interested in septics for some unknown reason. Because, well, think about it. Lots of people have mini farms. Lots of people are thinking about being self-sufficient. A lot of people are thinking about retiring and not having to pay that money every month. It's the same thing on a well. It's not like a well and a septic is free. But, oh my gosh, generally it's going to be a lot less expensive than, or it's cutting the ties, it's cutting the cable, right? Where you're not paying that bill every month. That's the difference. Yeah. And it's a lot more natural. And people go, ooh, the sewage is going in my backyard. It's like, where the heck do you think all that sewage goes anyway, And it goes out into a big old tank somewhere, gets all cleaned up, and then thrusts back in your water supply. I think that's more disgusting, personally. I mean, really, think about that for a minute. You know, we don't think about, generally, as human beings, what happened. We just want it all cleaned away. We don't think about landfill very often. We don't think about all those things that we throw away that are going in this massive landfill somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when was the last time you went to a landfill?
Been a long time.
I actually saw
They're
one.
fun.
Oh my gosh, aren't
They're
they?
fun.
They really are. So most of it's like a
You get to watch those giant earth movers.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
and you
And
that
you just smash all your stuff wherever you want.
you can see why Micah and I get on, can't you? Really?
Yeah, I hear this conversation going on here.
Yeah,
Y'all
really.
are totally in tune with each other.
Yeah. And Cameron is calling in just here shortly, so
Okay.
he's. I think he thinks the line is busy. So
I find it interesting and a little bit disconcerting that you see me and you think septic systems. You want to talk septic systems?
no, I'm on to landfill now. So
Okay.
most of these landfills look like just mountains, really, with grass on them, and they've got these weird pipes sticking out because of the gas that builds up underneath. And in fact, a lot of them actually sell that methane gas off, I believe. They siphon it off because all of that landfill creates so much gas. And then Micah's right, in the new parts of the landfill, and these things go on for acres and acres and acres, there are these massive pieces of equipment that you've probably never seen before, right, Micah? These big earth moving
I've
things.
seen them, yeah.
They're gigantic, but you don't see them out and about,
Oh,
you know.
no, yeah, you see them at the landfill.
Yeah, you don't see them at a farm or something.
No.
They're these gigantic pieces of equipment that move all this stuff that we throw away. And supposedly we're so green thinking and everything else. Well, just go to the local landfill and you'll be asking some questions about that. So septic, you could argue, is a very green way of living. It certainly makes your grass greener, right? And people say, well, do they smell? They don't smell at all. There is no... I've
Only-
never been at a
only if they're
house.
leaking.
Only if they're leaking. Right? I've never actually been to a house where I've smelled anything from a septic. You can't build over the septic field.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah,